Is it on now? Okay, let's call the July 22nd, 2013 audit committee. Audit and Finance Advisory Committee to order. Roll call.
Chair Long Chu,
Here.
Vice Chair Elise Bryan,
Here.
Committee Member Ken Johnson,
Here.
Committee Member Sher Miller,
Here.
Committee Member Virginia Standish,
Here.
Town Manager Mark Cutney,
Here.
and Underwood Management Services Group, Bill Underwood.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve
Okay.
the agenda.
So Liz made a motion and Cheryl seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Consent agenda, approval of June 24th, 2013 minutes. We have a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion? Just have one question, curious. On page 1 of the minute, consent agenda, under
What page are you on?
on page 4, What's the second last line? Replace respect with respect. I was counting at the number of spaces. Actually, I read it. I thought my eye was like.
Did you?
I think that's one reason. When
I'm sure there was a typo in the original,
Yeah.
and she typed it correctly.
Okay. Respect. Okay, so with the clarification, making changes on the word respect,
What
All those in
paragraph,
favor?
excuse me?
we don't know what the word really was.
It says we change respect to respect, but we don't know what.
Page 8 of 119, paragraph 8, first sentence.
Two words.
But that was last month's meeting, though, wasn't it?
And I did not find those minutes, I apologize.
Maybe it was respect to.
With respect to, or with respect to, I don't know. And I just clarify it again.
We will clarify.
Yeah. So with the changes, all those in favor, saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And none, motion carries. Old business. Cost recovery, none. Sales tax, none. Third, no minor audit contract regarding CPD. What's it for?
You asked that it was in the contract or somewhere, when we did find it in their proposal, offered CPEs to any of the staff or any of the committee members, but the proviso was if they had in-house training. And it's our understanding that they have not done any. And it didn't necessarily specify whether it was 3 hours, 12 hours. But they did say if they have it, that it's open for everybody.
And though they will provide if it is.
If it is open, if they
If
provide.
they have it, then they'll provide you or
Yeah.
whoever with information on where, when, the particulars.
However, we may want to check that against the new rules that have come out from Palm Beach County Ethics and Inspector.
This is
Just, we'll check it.
This is on RFP, the specific language. The auditor will offer at no expense to the town an annual government training seminar to the town staff and FAC members. This seminar will be offered locally and award 16 hours CPE. So that's what is the RFP, and RFP is part of the contract, so just,
Contract didn't, to the best of my knowledge, contract and their proposal said, as I understand. Their proposal indicated that they would offer in-house training, and when they offered it, if they offered it, that they would.
And dependent upon a gap fee announcement.
Yeah, and their whole thing is if there'd be pronouncements, then they would have it.
I don't think we have one problem.
I don't think it'd be
And
any.
we will check it out, because I'm not trying to argue with you guys, but it's in the contract, in RFP, so everything. Okay. Please let us know when they are open one for us.
Okay.
Number 5, new business. Approval of FY 2013 June financial statement. So we're going to go through this one by one. First item, budget versus.
All right, what page, John?
On
Financial reports.
Okay, you want us to ask question or you want to go through it very quickly? We did it either way.
We are ready. If there is
No
not
questions?
necessarily a question, we would be, this would
Okay.
be the first.
Ken?
Mr. Chairman, I've got a question.
Okay.
On page 18 of 114, you're looking at it right now.
The content of the CBA file.
Okay, I cannot read my copy plainly. Down at the bottom, it says the foregoing agreement was acknowledged before me the 8th of January. What is the date?
2009. Okay.
It looks like it says 2010, but
Looks like it was glued over with 2000.
See, I mean, I cannot read what it says. And then it goes on to say that down where Geraldine Sybil made the stamp, it expires in 2012.
That's our notary.
Huh?
That's
the
our
notary seal did, yes.
Oh, the
Okay.
notary seal expires.
But if you look above under the signatures, the council approved it on 12/1/2009, so I believe Bill is correct. That would probably be 2010.
Okay, so that's 2010. Okay, thank you. Because I started looking at dates and looking at stamps and looking at seals. And I said, who's on first? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On the financials, questions?
Yeah, I just have, this, on the transportation fund, which is page 23. At the last meeting, we were told that there were going to be a lot of invoices for road rock that you all already had, that were in the process of being paid, or did I
No,
misunderstand
it's
that?
like 30 or about 28, 30, 40, but we wasn't sure. You were going to, an estimate, Berlin estimate.
Yeah.
Do you not have invoices from the district, or what's going on?
Well, what we're trying to do is slow down that process. The new game plan is to get a bunch of road ratings at first to see just how much road rock we need on some of these roads. I mean, the requests were coming fast and furious by people who just seem to think they need road rock. And we don't want to, what we're doing is we're having our public works vendor go out and check and make an assessment, but we've had so much rain, there are some potholes and puddles and things, and what we want to do is with the new contract coming up through the district, we want to try to have all the roads graded once. And then make an assessment as to what roads actually really do need rock.
No, we're talking about previous work done that was to still be built out, correct?
Yeah, I got.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
At the last meeting, you said that there had been, I don't know, $25,000 or $30,000 worth of road
I
rock
believe that's correct.
Well,
that
I know
you had, are you,
17.
that had been I understood from the meeting, and maybe I was wrong, I understood from the meeting that road rock was already out and down, and we were just waiting for bills.
That's
I
right.
think-
And
That's accurate.
if that is the case,
Public close, yeah.
why? I
No,
mean, if
I
it's
think-
out and down, then we want to get the bill.
I don't think it's down. I think at the rate it was going, it was gonna be 30.
Oh, okay. So,
Which would be about right, because I was looking at the 17,000. It's under traffic control and signs, since we don't have a specific place for road rock. But it
Road
is-
rock is under traffic control signs?
We don't have a.
17,000 year to
specific
date.
location. Yeah, year to date.
So that includes the rock?
It's maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
in prior years, until last year, the town had only, and the district had only spent 17, 16, 18,000 a year. And if this was 6 months, they had already gone through 17. So if you kept going at that rate, you're gonna be 34, something
Okay.
thereabouts
I understand.
by the end of the year.
Now, is this anticipation due to the fact that these roads eventually are going to belong to the town rather than water control?
Now, we have, I think you have a litany of residents that are very schooled in how many cubic yards of rock they need to put on their road. They call and I guess they say they need.
4 loads, 6 loads, 8 loads.
And some need maybe none, or maybe one.
You're in a bad spot.
And it just so happens this is when my heart is a detriment.
That's the reason why I picked this seat and moved my name over here.
Go out to the car and get my,
You move to see the dispatch?
I just know, I
You
just
wanna
go out
do
to the
that?
car and get my sunglasses.
Okay, here you go.
Okay, I know where-
Okay, go ahead.
I'm kidding.
Next question,
On page.
page 31. You still got a lot of parentheses there. And I did see an invoice that you had sent to Valley Crest, which is in the back part of our, but we've got quite a few negatives still. What, can you update us on what's going on with those accounts?
Well, some of them have been in place for a long time, such as the Day Associates.
Yeah,
The Palm Beach State College had indicated they were going to pay us. I think they're probably operating a little slowly because of the referendum issue that's still
yeah.
before the judge. But, you know, we had provided them the information, they indicated they were going to cooperate, there wasn't going to be a problem. So I can call and check on that. Valley Crest shouldn't have been the negative, but you may remember council directed them to come back with another site plan. So, you know, it's our feeling like that was the council directive, so I don't know if we can go ahead and charge them cost recovery on that. You know, it's like they were
Well,
reacting to
and
council
Did
direction.
the council direct you not to charge them cost
No,
recovery?
they didn't, but they were fine until council, they weren't in arrears until council took that action. And they crossed over to
Then we
the,
should bill them. I mean,
I'm just saying.
That's why they're in the hole.
well, I know.
Yeah, and that's why it's good.
I guess what I'm saying is, unless you have council approval specifically for the town to pay that, then
We charge.
we should charge.
That's right.
I agree.
We can do it.
We can try to.
I've got a question while this subject is being brought up. Going through this entire book, the name Valley Crest and Big Dog Ranches comes up frequently. And I know that you as a management staff and crew track all of this. But I also see, and maybe that you have charged enough funding to cover the expenses. But I see when you go back to some of these other pages, for a code violation, you have to have a magistrate. Well, he's getting his money right on time. If you get Jim that works in the office, he's getting his money every month. He gets paid all the time. If I have to send up Frank Shaw, he's getting his money all the time. I mean, those guys are up to snuff, you know.
And the town management get the money.
But are we collecting enough money to cover those expenses?
You can,
Because when you look at what you've collected off of the code violations, you know, it is way down. I mean,
You don't get money. It's not a money-making proposition.
doesn't need to be a
Not
money.
even a cost, even not even a break even.
Okay, but why shouldn't it be? What I'm saying is that we, the other people in the community, are paying for that.
You can't recover the cost of the special magistrate. That's pretty clear. I mean, he's like the judge in that. There are many cities, including us, who attempted to recover administrative costs. In fact, you may remember one Todd McClendon actually, council forgave him for administrative costs, $3,000. It was a very close vote, 3-2 vote, but they did. However, the same Todd McClendon in a case now, that's before the special magistrate, his attorney has provided case law and attorney general opinions which say in Florida you cannot recover costs associated with code enforcement. This is the first time I've heard this, because like I said, a lot of cities are doing it, but he and Mr. Keno, Tom McClellan's attorney, has provided the information, some substantial information, and our attorney is, I think, dealing with it and attempting to respond to it. But this puts the whole issue of whether you can recover costs under code enforcement in jeopardy, or at least a question mark.
Will we get to see that response?
I'll provide it to you.
I think code enforcement is not, you understand, the philosophy
I'm not
behind
saying
code
it-
enforcement is, put you under code enforcement so you'll do the right thing, not to get the money. And so we spend all this time, we go to special magistrate, we do the hearing, we do the investigation, we do this, we do that, and you do the right thing. You've still spent all the money. You've complied, and that was the ultimate, that was the goal of code enforcement.
Okay, but it seems like the tail is wagging the dog.
Well, here's where you could get, it's indefined in the liens that have been placed on a property, that's where you can try to recover. And last year, we had a good year. You may remember, we got, it was like 35,000 and change on one from Wells Fargo, because they wanted to close the properties, and they had a willing buyer, and they wanted to just get it out of the way.
Right.
And that probably covered most of our costs and helped us out quite a bit last year. But basically, the way you do it is you need to collect some fine money from the respondents who have been guilty. Now, I can tell you the same, Valley Crest, we still have to take them before the magistrate on the fine issue. And their fine is in excess of 6 figures. And, I mean, I'm not saying we should try to collect that much money, but first it's in the magistrate's court, and he can decide,
Right.
you know, what he's gonna recommend that it be reduced to, and then after it's passed his jurisdiction, then they can go back to council, and council can decide what they wanna do with it. But, you know, it's those kind of cases where you do have to collect some revenue if you're trying to offset the expenses from code enforcement.
Right, because, and I'm not saying it should be a money-making event. I'm just saying, hey, break even for the general population that's out there living in Loxahatchee Grove. Because you look at the inequities, the people who are living there, I mean, it's costing all of us, and I don't know if y'all live here or not, you know. But if you do, you're paying for it too. And then you keep looking at some of the stuff and you say, hey, you know, when's it gonna stop?
And the one cost you didn't cite this year is the attorney's fees. That's why the attorney's fees have really gone up. One of the areas is the increased code enforcement expenses.
Okay. All right.
And even if you get the lien, and you file the lien, could be years. If it's a homesteaded property, it'll be whenever they die and it comes off onto another relative.
Well, at some time, you know, I mean, but don't stop filing the liens, you know, because at some time, damn, we're gonna get a kickback.
We would call it a reimbursement.
A reimbursement. I'm using the wrong terminology, but you understand what
I do,
I
sir.
mean, you know. But,
At any rate, the code enforcement is an issue, that's a problem everywhere. I don't know anybody, if they collect 50% of what they spend, they're doing really good.
Do you have any way of knowing how many liens, dollars worth of liens you've got outstanding?
Oh, not that many. I don't even know if we have
Sure, we can find out.
we have about like 3, maybe.
Is that all?
Yeah, there's not that many.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Keep going, I might have another topic somewhere. No, keep going.
So,
Oh, sure, I'm sorry, I thought you said, sure.
So I think I'll find it.
are you done with that? What about, Virginia?
I'll give you a question. I noticed on, I don't know what page it's on because I done lost my page. But recycling income, I know you said before we get it, it's sporadic though, because I noticed it happened in February and then it didn't happen again in May. Did you say what it was from or did I just?
Comes from solid waste control.
But that's what they do when they pick up our recycling. They give us a
We
portion
get
of it,
something.
something from it.
Okay.
Is that, do we hope that continues?
We think
We hope it does.
We hope it does, yeah.
We think it should. It's in the budget.
That was my question, is it in the budget?
It is.
There you go, I'll find it for you.
I just had it, I mean, isn't this the craziest thing?
Here it is right here on page 25 of 114. It's on the,
I was looking for
from
it.
the top, it's about the fourth one down, it
I was looking
says
for it in the
SWA
ledger.
Recycling.
I was kind of looking for it in the ledger, but I found something else. On 71 of 114,
Pardon me?
on page 71 of 114,
71, okay, it's
what
probably.
is aids to government agencies, GER,
That would be a grant or a loan,
to the,
probably to the.
Border Control District? Yeah, for 28, almost 29 days.
28,934.
28,993.
Yeah, that's the,
28,893.
That's a subsidy for the OJM roads.
yeah, we call it a grant.
Is that grant?
Well, no, because I said that, and then I looked in the other one and it had a different name, and I'm going, what in the world? And it's the same number, so,
28,993.
I'm just making sure it was, because like I said, I looked at it and I went, no, that has a different name, it's the same number. So
That is what it is. It's a grant.
for them to do what they have to do on the roads.
Pardon me?
For them to do what they have to do on the roads.
No.
No.
It's to
What they-
reduce debt service for certain people.
Oh, that's not, no, that, what they are doing.
That's accurate.
It's accurate, but I believe what they're doing is, that amount allows everybody to pay the same rate for an OJM road, because initially some roads cost a lot more than others. And the council said, well, we really want to make it a flat rate, so
It's like
people
equalizer.
vote on it, they know what they're paying for, and one road doesn't pay more than another.
Question?
I want to talk about this.
Okay, go ahead. Are you done with the question? Virginia?
I'm done.
Okay, what page is it?
This is on page 25 of 114. Going back to the solid waste recycling income.
What page, excuse me?
That's page 25 of 114. It's the fourth one from the top. It's recycling income. The way I look at that, that's free money.
It's kind of like a gimme.
Yeah, it's free money, but I don't think that we as a town have emphasized that it is free money in this manner. We should be proactive, and every resident in this town should be delivered free buckets. You know, you call them up, and they will give you a yellow bucket and a blue bucket and deliver it to your house, gratis. We need an all-out campaign to go resident by resident, road by road, and just whether the people want those damn buckets or not, excuse me, we should just deliver them, and hopefully they'll start using them so that we can gain this free money and help offset some of our other expenses.
I would just like to add to that, don't stop at the buckets, because another municipality that I have a home in that has a budget of $95,000 for the year. We also received free carts.
Yes, you can get free
Yes,
cards. That's,
so no comment, we got free carts
well,
along for our recycling bins.
yeah,
So go for the whole enchilada, you know, if we're gonna.
well, I will.
That will make, no, that will make it, convenient, because it is difficult for people to take them out, and if you can ask the recycling people for those carts, it'll get more to the curb.
Well, I think that was a part of the
So-
bidding process, was it not?
Not the recycling,
No,
but the recycling, they got wheels for recycling.
carts, little push carts, and then you put your address in.
Yes, they do, I remember.
So that would
seeing-
make it, give people more
Yeah.
incentive to get
The
it
older,
out.
the elderly people or people who don't have golf
Me.
carts.
I'm out there, I have to use that little cart.
That's neat. I didn't know that.
Or children to do it for them.
Again, me.
But going along with the garbage cost thing, there's some other things that I think would be very important too. And I think in a way they tried to get a bid for the garbage containers, and that sort of went by the wayside, and I don't understand the bidding process there exactly. But something has got to be done in our town for these people that are abusing the garbage situation. I can show you examples of people that put out 6 and 8 garbage cans full of garbage twice a week. And they are jacking the rest of us, our garbage cost up. It's got to be.
I think I brought that up.
Well, you could have.
It was not a motion.
Well, you know, I mean, I read through the bids, which happened when I wasn't here, unfortunately, you know, because I would love to express my opinion on that. But there are so many abuses in the garbage pickup situation in this town, we can't see straight. So what do we do? We're all paying for that, and, you know, there's got to be some equity somewhere.
Well, that's a two-way street. We're negotiating the contract right now.
Mhm.
We're doing the contract, and of course, we're trying to make it a little tougher so that when we have issues with Waste Pro, I mean, the way the current contract is, it's kind of tough to impose sanctions. You gotta give them a lot of room before you can finally do something. So by the same token, you know, we can look at the language, you know, maybe Waste Pro needs to be more proactive and let us know when they're also encountering these problems so that the town can address them.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I thought maybe every family should get 1 or 2 of the garbage containers on wheels out there. And then if somebody was gonna have more garbage than that, they would have to pay an annual rate for those extra 2 or 3 cans that they wanted to help level the playing field.
That was one of the options.
Yeah,
That was an option in the bid.
yeah.
But
And-
Ken, I would like to counter to that. I think what you just said, where the waste contractor needs to be more proactive and red tag the people who are abusing the system rather than the rest of us be penalized and reduced to just 1 or 2 bins. You know, there's people who have horses, who have nurseries. And I realize some of that's commercial, I understand that. But I really am tired of having to be penalized for the people who are getting away with stuff in this town, you know.
And that goes, what she just said, goes to another subject. These commercial properties, not all of them have the dumpsters that they're supposed to have. You know, I can give you examples of that, where they're paying residential rates.
Well,
They
hey,
don't even have
whatever.
a
They're not
house.
paying it all.
Hmm?
They don't pay it all.
They don't pay it all?
No.
Well, that's a real problem, isn't
I mean, they pay whoever they pay.
it? Yeah.
The town is not in it.
And not supposed to be putting anything out if they're a commercial.
But they do. That's the problem. Some people that have commercial properties abide by the regulations. Others do not. There are situations in this town that there's 2 houses on one piece of property, and they pay for 1 rate.
We try to catch those.
Well, You can throw a rock from your office to one of
Well,
them.
and then the other side of that though, Ken, again, and then the other side, I can argue to make the other side, you can have two houses on one property. That second house may not be occupied all the time. Now, see, that's the other side of the argument.
I beg your pardon, but these houses are occupied.
But what I'm
People
saying
live in
is,
them, and they're collecting rent off of those.
I
houses.
understand that, but in comparison, you know, if you're gonna get into this, you have to have an accurate comparison for the rest of us, you know, to weigh this out, you know.
Well, just going back to what we've done, I mean, we did, garbage rates are supposed to be based on kind of kitchens. So if you have two houses on your property and there are two kitchens, and they know about it, then you get two garbage bills. And that's the way the rules work, and I know,
For this town.
right, several years ago, after the town was formed, there was a lot of work done. It was before Mark came on board, but we actually had a contractor went door to door. You know, went on garbage day, ahead of the garbage trucks to see who was putting out cans. And he wrote down the names of the people that had cans out, and then he went back and looked up on the property appraiser's records to see if those people were being assessed. And if they were not being assessed, we picked them up and added them to the roll. But commercial properties, if it's just a commercial property that's there and they don't have a residence, they're not supposed to pay anything. They're supposed to not put anything out. And that is checked also by
But
the town.
okay, that's not being checked, it's not being enforced like that. I understand what you're explaining, and it may have happened at the time, but I can show you examples right now where there's a nursery that does not have a house on it, that is paying residential rates, because I've looked it up, and every pickup day, especially when the clamshell comes, he's got a load of stuff out there. And they're picking it up and driving off.
Well, you should let Mark know that, because,
Yeah.
Well, I've got
And his next door neighbor has two houses on that piece of property, and they're only paying for one residential rate.
let Mark know, and that'll be fixed.
Okay,
Just give him the names, right?
I will.
And then what about here's another example, Ken, you tell me about this one. On B Road, we've got someone pretending to be a nursery, but he's actually in the dumpster business because he's got two flatbeds with 4 dumpsters sitting in his yard right on B Road right now. I mean, you know, there's all sorts of abuses in this town.
So, I mean,
I think that the committee members raising the question. I hope that Bill and Mark will take some action.
Well, if any of these properties, you tell us where they're at, because we have an opportunity between now and September 30th to add those people to the roll.
okay,
Can we do that?
And you have a public works person to do it.
I can give you 3 of them right around the corner.
Well, maybe we should get that
Yes.
after the meeting.
That'd be fine.
I think we should go ahead and do that. Okay, that's good. We get this reduce our costs. Virginia, you have any more?
No, I think that was
I
a
think
pretty
Ken
good
has some-
review of that topic,
That's
though.
good, yeah. Can you have a few more questions?
Yeah, I do have one other question here that I see right offhand. I might have some others, but, you know. The compensation for the town council, how much was that? Yeah, I'm sorry. Page 49, 114. Right, sort of in the heart of the page, where it says 500, 500, 500, and 500.
That would be it.
Now, is that each meeting?
No, that's every month. That's a monthly reimbursement for costs. They're
For
not-
each council member? Or maybe I misunderstood the resolution that was voted on.
It was your absence at the time, there was a lot of discussion. Okay.
I mean, I think they should be compensated, but I didn't think it was $500 a piece per month for each one.
Well, and there
Which
was
then
a
they are paid out
discussion.
in 1099 miscellaneous, which then goes on their taxes as they see fit.
Well,
They
they
should
have an
report it on
opportunity
state.
to counter that with expenses,
Mainly gas,
mileage, gas,
mileage,
yeah,
Cartridges for your copier. cell phone.
communicates,
whatever,
telecom, all
whatever
kinds of.
they spend for.
Well,
And there was a discussion, Ken, because some people who'd been in the corporation at the town beginning also questioned. They thought it was just gonna be one or two who were newly voted on, newly elected, and then as you got elected, that discussion took place in
I
town.
remember something about that,
Yeah.
but I just didn't realize it was gonna be $500 a month per person each month. That's a big piece of change.
I thought it was underpaid.
Could be. I mean, you're underpaid, right?
I know I am.
Okay.
Any other one?
Now, let's see.
Yeah, okay, hold on.
Some of this stuff y'all have already talked about. Let's talk about the circuit budget for a second. I'm looking at page 72 of 114 right now.
72.
72 of 114, it's sort of near the top there. And I know about some of this for the tags and the reimbursement and the installation of the antenna, which thank goodness is in, because if there's ever a disaster here, we need that communication. But the question is this: on one page, and I don't know where it is right offhand, it said that the third annual budget was like $3,000, which is, that's okay. But then on another page, it goes for it says, actual against the 75% of what the year has been. And on that page, it says it's $2,000.
Yeah, I only see
Well,
two.
that doesn't compute,
Yeah, they're over budget.
well, yeah, I mean, I realize that, but I couldn't figure out why it was 3,000 one place and then 2,000 another place, and the amount spent, let me see if I can find it.
I didn't know there was a three.
Says two.
Right there, you're looking on page 22 of 114 in the general fund expenditures.
It's two, right?
Yes,
Page what?
page 22 of 114.
Okay. Okay, yeah, it says.
Just from the bottom.
See, right up top there, it says 75% is elapsed
Of the year, yes.
of the year.
Correct.
Okay, well, 75% of $3,000 is not 2,000.
Well, now, that's their
No,
whole
it's the
budget
whole
was only
budget.
two.
Yeah.
The whole budget is due. Why does it say 3 on this other page?
What
Where?
page
What
does
page
it
is
say
it?
three on?
Well,
Is that how much was actually spent? I mean, it looks like they spent.
I found it somewhere.
2,500.
The 3,000, yeah, it does, on page 99 of 3,000 in your fiscal year 12-13 adopted budget.
Yep, there it is right
It
there.
says 3,000.
It says 3,000. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. It's right there.
Page 99.
Page 99 of 114.
114.
Thank you, Elise. I knew that I wasn't going crazy yet.
I think that was our budget amendment that the Colonel did, if I'm not
This
mistaken.
isn't the amendment, this is the-
Yeah, that's a budget amendment.
Yeah, it's amendment.
No, this, where it says FY 12-13 adopted budget,
And then at the
amended.
last column, it says amended budget.
Amended.
Yeah, but I mean, the first column is adopted budget.
And then the
Oh, we
amended
had
budget,
amendment earlier.
Yeah.
the amended
Oh,
budget
so-
This is like the third.
This is,
Amended
this is
before.
the third go-round
Okay.
on amendments.
All
The
right.
closer we get to the end of the year, the,
So the adopted budget is the budget, but why do we not have the adopted budget in here?
see, that was the thing.
they have not been input yet.
Okay, all right.
No, the adopted was there, and,
It just hasn't been input into your
Correct.
sheets yet. When is that gonna be done?
hopefully, as we speak,
Okay.
and that was probably my fault, because I said, look, we gotta fix this thing on the transfer to $15,000 solid waste for pickup for hurricane preparedness, and the extra money for the district. So we had to, I knew that budget amendment was coming, and that's what this one does, it took care of that problem.
So you're
And
just gonna do it one time?
I said, just hold until we get them all.
Till you get them all, and then you'll change it?
So she's gonna do it now that we have this second round, but that is correct.
Okay, all right, because, I mean, I started looking at the math, and I said, something doesn't add up here, and just wanted to ask a question for
You-
explanation.
You are correct, sir.
Thank you.
You will see that budget number come through.
Okay. That's all I have right now that I know of. Is that enough? Thank you.
That means all done with 5A? And B, review outstanding and zoning services?
But we need a motion though to approve.
Right.
We made a motion, so we need to take a vote on approving
Okay,
the
I do
June
have one
financial
other
statement.
question.
Go ahead.
On page 11 of 114,
This is good. So the auditor's contract.
on the number 551, says auditors shall defend, indemnify, and hold harmless the town, its officers, elected and appointed officials, attorneys, agents, and employees from and against all claims, all demands, all lawsuits, da. Now, in the case of an event of a disaster, who does that include? In other words, what I'm saying is that you're probably, some of you would be at the EOC. Would it include you? Would it include people on the water district? Would it include the CERT team that's,
Well, they're not in that at all. The auditor, he's only taking claim for things that
He does.
he does. He's not in FEMA or the
I think
emergency
that-
management.
Anything the auditor
Connected
does
to the
wrong.
auditor.
okay, so it's all connected with the auditor.
Right, that indemnification is in all our contracts, engineers, whatever they're doing for us, so.
And it just says
Okay.
if the auditor does something wrong, they can't sue the finance.
Right,
Or they
okay.
can, but
All
they
right.
will hold us harmless.
Okay. Very good.
Indemnify us.
This
Thank you.
Stand-time cost for government.
Who moved the item 5A?
Not yet.
Was there a motion?
You listen,
I made a.
you listen,
I
sure.
think I was-
For the finance?
No, to approve the financials.
I didn't get that. Who
You
made it?
didn't get it? I'll make it now.
And also,
Okay.
Motion by Lee, second by Cheryl. Any other discussion? Okay, now, Ken, okay, so they will cover 5A and B, right? Including-
Covers, yeah.
Hopefully. I thought that's what the motion was.
Yeah, normally, to approve the 5A, yes, 5A and 5B.
Okay, seeing no more discussion, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we got number 6, administrative update.
Okay, tonight I handed out a revised report. The one that's in there was a backdated version. There's not a lot of change to it, it's just the last paragraph where it talks about identifying some of the routine duties that the town management staff has to do on a yearly basis. That's not project oriented. What I did, this was handed out to the town council at their last meeting. And it's illustrative for everybody. I wanted the FAA to see, when we're talking about how sometimes it's hard to get to certain projects, only because as you can see, the sheer volume of things that we're working on from time to time. And, you look at some of those like Dave versus the town of Waxahachie Groves lawsuit. There may be weeks that I don't do anything, and then all of a sudden, boom, I had to do an affidavit for the latest filing, and that, was putting together, a 5-page legal instrument that was going to the court. So, you never know what's going to pop open. These priorities, we put them into 4 tiers. There's actually 41 projects, because under the work authorizations that we're doing from a planning and zoning standpoint, that's actually 4 separate projects. But what I wanted to do was to get it to council, and I've invited their comments, because last year when we brought it to them and we asked them for a prioritization, they didn't really want to do it. They said, you guys prioritize it. So we did, and we provided them one of these memos last year. This year, I've invited them to give me any input they have, because you have some projects that are near and dear to each individual council member, and they sometimes wonder why their project isn't moving faster and why others are. So obviously, if they have no pride of authorship here in terms of the rating and the priorities, if you all have any recommendations for us to communicate to council, we'll be happy to take that input. But just wanted you to get an idea and see, like when we're trying to do projects like cost recovery and things like that, the sheer magnitude of what we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
Questions?
No, I just wanted to pass along, I have a comment, but I want to pass along a comment that Mr. Rocket made that I haven't passed along yet. Several town council meetings ago, when I presented one of the reports, he made the comment that he believes that the FAAC should share in the town's council's successes or failures of financial decisions. I did not comment to him at that time, however, they are the town council and they bear the burden of their decisions. So they do look at our input, they do value it, but again, my comment was, it's on them. The final decision on how they spend the money and what they choose to do is on them. We can only review and advise as they ask us. I guess on here, I'm just wondering why under business plan 4th tier,
Yes.
why there would even be a white paper on treatment of agricultural uses listed.
That's the one we've talked about.
Right, I understand that, but I'm just saying, it just seems, there's state statutes, there's extension agencies, so it just,
Well, if you remember, I guess it goes back about 3-4 meetings. In fact, one of your members even questioned where we are with it, and I said, we haven't touched it. And, when we proposed it to you, based on, as you know, agriculture is always a topic that's, so filled with emotion every time we discuss it at that committee. And what we indicated is, obviously, if the staff had a white paper or a set of procedures on how to deal with agricultural issues, the best we could come up with, ground in the law that our attorney would look at and agree that, we haven't made any kind of inappropriate interpretation based upon Florida statute, it would help the staff, consultants, anybody else dealing with these matters as they come in. And in our last meeting, you may remember, we provided the review committee with some of the interesting requests that we are dealing with from an agricultural standpoint, either with soil amendments, vermiculture, all those different things. So there are a lot of folks that seem to think the town staff is trying to be difficult with agriculture, and we're not. We just want to be fair, and we want to,
right, but my whole point was from a financial perspective, from your time and priorities, it just seems that with existing statutes, and perhaps if the law firm had an attorney more versed in agricultural issues, they could perhaps, that would be a benefit.
And you see where it is, it's 4th tier, and it's like not the highest priority.
That was my
It's like a
only
nice
comment.
to,
Right.
then more than we have to, or Got it.
And then also on the solid waste contract, I think, Ken's comments for consistency and at least what they were saying on consistency of previously established guidelines would be a big benefit, so that some of us who don't want to be burdened or restricted by those who are abusing the system, that would be a good use of time.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, down underneath business plan initiative priorities and first tier, number 6, explain, and I know you gave an explanation in the meeting the other night, but maybe explain what the ramifications of what you mean.
Oh, major. FEMA, this is a project that's been overdue. They were supposed to issue new flood mapping called firm maps
Right.
several years ago. They're behind. Well, they have finally gotten to it. And they've issued firm maps for the entire Palm Beach County area.
Right.
The issue is that right now the federal flood insurance, the agency is really in arrears in terms of its money. It's in bad shape. And what the feds are trying to do is they passed a Biggers Act that basically keeps the flood insurance program going, but they want it run more efficiently, they want it better, they want all the issues out of the way. So the concern is with any property that's going to be picking up flood insurance in the future, you're probably looking at a 25% increase for maybe a 5-year period. The state of Florida writes most flood insurance policies in the country. Palm Beach County writes the most flood insurance policies in the state. We went to a meeting about a month and a half ago with the League of Cities, their environmental committee, and actually an engineer for West Palm Beach had talked with FEMA and got some advanced mapping. And we were very concerned because the mapping that we received, the preliminary mapping, shows that roughly 85 to 90% of the town is in a flood zone that we previously weren't. And what that generally means is if you're determined to be in a flood zone, you now have to do flood-proofing measures, and which means we either draft our own ordinance or we work with the Palm Beach County and we go under their ordinance. But what it generally means is when you're involved in a flood insurance program, people can't get mortgages unless they're in the flood insurance program. All the federal lending institutions won't give you a mortgage unless you have a floodplain ordinance and you're dealing with flood proofing and all those things to make sure that if you have a flood, the costs aren't going to skyrocket out of control because you didn't have the appropriate measures taken. So probably new floodplain maps will not come into effect until sometime maybe next summer. But FEMA has already started the process. And I received a letter about 45 days ago. That's why I was really concerned about getting our general town engineer on board. In fact, he just signed a contract with us today, so we're getting ready to send him out on this project. I need him to review all the maps, to look at the hydrology. I've been on 2 conference calls with FEMA officials. Practically every city in this county has a major problem with the maps. They're saying it's due to bad modeling, although that's probably a very low-hanging fruit type of argument. But for whatever reason, AECOM, who is one of the consultants that FEMA is using, some of their assumptions relative to the floodplains just doesn't seem correct. The C51 area, all the cities out in the western area of Palm Beach County are getting whacked. Wellington, Royal Palm Beach, Indian Trail, the acreage, us. So what we're looking to do is the Western Community Council is trying to get together with an effort. Richard Radcliffe, through the Palm Beach County League of Cities, is attempting to put together some kind of consortium. It's still going to be incumbent upon each city to have its own engineering review. So we were caught in between engineers, which didn't help us. But
Right.
Probably in the next couple of months, we're going to be dealing with FEMA. They're going to be down here working with the cities. They'll be having workshops with them. They'll be having workshops with individual owners, property owners affected by the flood maps. In 2 conference calls, most of the local officials down here are trying to tell FEMA, take a breath and step back and let's look at trying to make sure we got this right in the first place. instead of getting everybody all excited and putting out maps with potentially erroneous data and information. FEMA, in my opinion, is kind of taking the bureaucratic move forward approach. They're not really listening, no, this is the process, this is how we have to do it. So we really need to, in Palm Beach County, we need to have a strong team effort among all the cities. We need to probably get our legislators involved, because it's really a big deal if you get whacked into the floodplain program when you weren't floodplain previously. On our map, we're like all orange, which means we're in the floodplain.
They need money.
Yes.
Okay, so in other words, new people that sign up for the flood insurance would pay 25% more.
I think everybody that's got it is probably, their renewal's gonna be up 25.
So in other words, any of us that already have it on a renewal, it's gonna go up
Probably.
by 25%. All right, now,
And people moving, and people with mortgages, the mortgage company's probably gonna require it, so if you're not paying for flood insurance
all
now.
right, now you said
You're gonna
they've got
have
a
to.
list as to things you could do to ensure that you could help protect your property or et cetera. Is that what you said?
Floodplain ordinance regulations for floodproofing, usually they fall into three areas. It's mostly building regulations, zoning regulations, and subdivision. In terms of how you would try to mitigate the impacts of a flood on properties when they're involved.
But aren't they also going to be affecting the building regulations also, this goes through? I mean, they get even agricultural buildings.
Yeah, I don't think they get a pass on that.
Nobody
I'm not
gets a
certain,
pass,
but I don't
but they
think they
didn't
do.
address that at that, or that's down the road that is,
Probably
it
down
gets
the road.
addressed.
Probably down the road.
Okay,
They're after everything.
so everybody's sitting back and waiting for the maps.
But you know what happens, if we have to go ahead and do an ordinance, then you get into that whole issue, the town has always tried to operate in a government-like fashion. I know one councilman kind of had to comment, boy, if we have to do a floodplain ordinance, we're really getting bureaucratic. I can't argue with them, it's more regulation, more, to deal with, to enforce, implement, administrate,
But if the canals were cleaned out, then it was all war, wouldn't it?
Even Isaac, with our blockages and everything, we still did pretty good.
Well, I think we did too, considering, but still, your main canal, Blackton Canal, hadn't been cleaned since heck there was a pot.
Okay.
So, okay.
Thank
Sorry for that long-windy, but that's.
Well, that's all right, but I think
I do have a
everybody deserves
I do have a comment, just what you think. The business plan, it looks very, very good, very comprehensive, includes everything. Couple of things here. First thing is that some of these are like mandatory, we don't have way to get around it, we have to deal with it anyway, so it's not our priority anyway. Like day versus time lawsuit, we have to deal with it, doesn't matter how high or how we rank it. So it's not our priority. I mean, just face it, not. We don't have choice. That's what I mean. And some of the things in here, I understand like the last one, you have banking services and then auditing with procurement. Some of these really rank according to their need when it comes like expiration, or we feel like that we don't need them as much. When you rank that. Or just like you put it in the first thought and then you don't do it.
No, well, I tried to do a good faith ranking based upon either council requirements or if we have to do, I mean, like, if you go back to the first tier, look at the work authorizations. I mean, we had to do the capital improvements element update because there was concern with spending the 5-cent gas tax. We have to do the amendments to the comprehensive plan because Okeechobee and Southern Boulevards, the issues with land use have been a constant problem. Just can't let it, lay out there. The ULDC review committee, there were so many issues with our current ULDC that council felt, they needed to convene a committee to study those items. Hay sales, historical legacy, that's just one specific item that came up as a result of somebody's request. But the PUD processing for Locks Grove Commons and Locks Grove Center, that's the college, that's Locks Grove Commons. I mean, that's going to be coming, they're going to be coming in soon. The solid waste contract, we had to get moving on that. That's why it's number 2. We want to get that wrapped up because we needed to have that in place.
I don't question about the urgency of it.
Okay.
I think that somehow, something is missing in here, maybe you want to think about is, we know we need to do all this thing in a timely manner. Try to figure out how to quantify it, like, how much is it going to be? We want to take on that. How is it going to cost us?
Talk about dollars, that's a
Yeah.
whole different story, yeah.
And then the other one is the timing, like, timing means how long it's going to take. It could be in perpetuity. It could be 2-month project. The other thing is that who's going to do it? Like, do we do it in-house? Or we have to have somebody from outside?
Oh, that's a combination, depends on what you're talking about.
And also, when should we initiate it? Now or in 3 months? So I think that would give people some idea of the urgency. Like when you prioritize it, we need to do it, it only costs 2,000 or it's supposed to be 20,000. If this is 2,000, let's go ahead and do it. 20,000, let's wait, thing like that. So if you have the time urgency and tie to it, I think that people can see it more, what do you call, how to
Right.
prioritize it in reality.
That'd be kind of scary.
Just give some thought, because some of these are very good, like the traffic light, traffic signal, it affect a lot of people. We talked about it for the last 3 years, and how much that is expensive, we can afford, we need to face it in, things like that.
You can put it on a spreadsheet and prioritize it after you quantify your information.
Maybe let the big guy quantify it. At least you give them some input, they know how to rationalize it. I mean, also for the rest, I mean, these are very good. Town hall alternatives, 10-year plan.
Yes, when land was cheap, we could have.
Yeah, it's still, okay, that's good for it. You listen to this, so.
I like number 6 on it.
Huh?
I like number 6 on it. The newer testing.
The what?
We're gonna find out where it's all coming from.
I like number
That's a scary one.
I know.
You
No,
may give,
really, that was an intergovernmental coordination recommendation.
so
We
you,
are concerned that we don't fall into the same area that, the same issue Wellington's had with the phosphorus. We've had Dr. Lauda get up at meetings and say that he's done some testing and what he's found is off the charts.
That's right, he's had to reduce it 5 times to get it down to where his equipment will even measure it.
So the IGCs directly, they said, hey, maybe you need to see about getting some companies and
Well,
maybe we better start doing some testing to make
My,
sure.
my recommendation to some of that is that we, during that season, that the horse season is going on, we hire one special deputy to do nothing but sit at B Road in Big Forest and monitor the trucks that are crossing the highway,
and sample testing the manure.
you know?
You were concerned the banana farm had
Ken's correct, because you are correct, because I already sent an email today, because Friday we observed a vehicle on a property that we were told is no longer allowed to receive, so we reported it to the town as they asked me to do, and they're following up, it's already going, you're right, it's already going on.
Yeah.
It started back up.
I like number 9.
And a point was made, Ken, a good point was made about these manure testing. Some of these banana tree farms, it was questioned if they can actually produce enough bananas to sell. And that was a discussion that came up on another committee, and it was very interesting. So is it really just a solid waste dumping site?
Mm-hmm. Precisely. I witnessed that.
Okay. 6B. The Dorford budget amendment. Mr. Bill and Mr. Mark.
Well, we have that as a receipt and file. That's the, it's a third budget amendment we've done, Bill, during the year. Do you have any questions about it, or is there, it's there for your information.
On what, 6B?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Let me see. Bid tabulation.
Yes, we provided that. That was the recent bid, which was won again by Waste Pro, which we're in the process of working on the contract now.
Page 107?
That's correct, 107 through 109. And I do want to say at this point, if I can take the liberty, I want to thank Cheryl Miller and Frank Shiola. They both served, your own Cheryl Miller served as one of our committee members on this bid, and Frank as our solid waste monitor and public works guy. Helped Pearl Underwood and myself go through those bids, and so thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate all your efforts on that.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so we have a candidate to be recommended.
Wait, Pearl.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the option one, the manual, 415,800 was the low bid.
Make sure all those discussions we had a moment ago get to be incorporated. Yeah, when we talk about those illegal,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Okay. Okay, any question on reimbursement?
Oh, geez.
General entry collection? No? You have some?
No, I just have comments at the end.
Okay. Any other comments? Before we close, I tried to clean up my desk today. I did an article on the Palm Post regarding the property value. You discussed it before. When you talk about this, it just slipped my mind. And then I look at that.
Is this the millage?
No, the property value, the assess value of the whole country. Just give you a snapshot. All the cities, the assessment is going to be increased by, the value is going to be increased by 4.6%. Unincorporated 3.3, countywide 4.2. There are two cities, two incorporated. Well, these two, you have it. Only two incorporated entity had a decrease. One is, was it Breezes, decreased by 0.8, and the other one is Luxembourg by 3.8%. Everybody had gone up. Being a manager, we are asking, maybe you also agree, that what causes it? I mean, is anything that the town should or can do?
Sure. Well, I actually commented on this when they first came out. Obviously, the lack of development, the fact that we've had, and I say development, it's something commercial. I mean, we haven't had any single-family structures or anything that's been developed in the town in the last several years. We have had a number of people come into the town or in the town and are getting agricultural exemptions, which takes down the assessment value of their properties. And actually, when the Palm Beach Post was doing that story, they checked with the property appraiser's office and they concur with us. They said, well, that's how they see it too. These are issues we're going to be facing. I mean, we are an agricultural residential community. And we have some folks, there seems to be a heavy bent toward equestrian moving in, and it hits at your assessed valuation.
Yeah,
So we get some commercial growth or something to offset that.
But equestrian can also increase the value. It can be agricultural, residential, it can also increase the value of property values of areas as.
If they put a house on it.
It can.
If they-
Right, if they, yes, if you have, yes, there's things you can do,
Right.
that you can go either way on that debate of agriculture.
The problem is we don't see it right now, we see it just more or
No,
less.
you won't, but you have to plan for the infrastructure properly, and
I think we had some properties out here that were sold at a very low price. And very low, because I guess the owner wasn't able to pay the notes on them, so. And quite frankly, anybody who's in agriculture knows that it's not easy to make a living in agriculture, and you have high, and so that's driven down prices also.
but I don't think it's fair to blame agriculture for the decline. Agriculture has been here for a long time, and property values went up. So we all know it's a real estate cycle, a really bad one we've been through, so. I'm not willing to throw agriculture on the bus and say that's what caused our values to go down. That would be a very convenient argument from developers.
In a way, I think, if you look at Wellington, look at the price of land in Wellington and homes in Wellington, even the ones that have paddocks on them, it's expensive. Those horse people that want to build down here and bring their horses down for the shows and all this stuff, look at Waxahachie Groves as a haven. And if we zone them correctly,
Haven to dump.
no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if they're gonna buy 2.5, 5 acres, put 3 or 4 horses on it, that they can take over across the road and trail them over there and
They will
show
reverse
them
this.
and jump them. They will reverse that.
Yes.
And they'll build nice homes, they'll be well kept. And I think in the long run, that will raise the value of everybody's property out here. And I mean, I'm not a horse person, but I would encourage more horse people to build nice properties and have their 4 or 5 ponies and.
Conceptually, I
Yeah.
think this one goes, I think maybe we could discuss it next time. I think the town is a good project, how to increase the property value of Waxahachie. There are many issues that we will cover too. One is the agriculture that could or may not be, because if Ken said we could invite the horse people over, it's still agriculture. And then we're talking about lack of development. And while somebody wants to build something, so they want to build something, and there's a lot of fight. I think somehow the town has to put their act together. I mean, we have the management firm here. I would suggest that maybe we do next time, brainstorm that how those variables and factors that could help reverse the trend. It looks very bad. I mean, I look at this. I don't even want to show it to my coworker. I mean, everybody said, American dream is to own a property, a house. I mean, the dream is not coming through and looking at this thing. I think it is incumbent on the town management with the government board to see what can we do. I mean, we the whole community. It's not very impressive to see we're the largest loser, the biggest loser. It's bad. I think that the town management is being paid big bucks. I hope that you can take the lead, have us out. That I think if our value increased, I think that your bucks will be increased too. Yeah, look, it increased by 6%. I think that somehow make a big adjustment to your salary
You
too.
might even get a townhome to work out.
Well, I think there may be a reason. Can you maybe you talk to more people and find out what is it that we can do?
We could provide lots of different alternatives, and
Yeah.
it's not the issue. The issue is.
Thank you for taking it, I was like.
We can tell you a lot many other issues that cause people to think we are not very as high. I hope that we could address it. Any other discussion? If no objection, I hope that we can discuss it more next time. You all agree? Ken?
Sure.
Okay. Closing comment, general public, you can see everybody. Let's go around the table. Sir?
Good meeting. Thank you, Mark, for
Yeah.
comments.
Ken?
I think we brought up some good topics tonight. Of a lot of comments and positive head shaking from this group over here. And and I think that's part of what you were talking about, is what we could do to increase land values in Waxahachie Groves all total. We've got some underlying problems that need to be fixed to help enhance what the community is and is going to be. One thing right off top of my head is the horse trailers. We need to get that up and running. Because if we can get those into place, and then people over there say, aha, they've got horse trailers, and like that goes. That's where we can ride out parties, you know. And I mean, that's a positive plus that I think we need over here. And get the east-west one going, get a couple of these north-souths going, and then as years progress, we can add another one and add another one, so that, you know, and some of this has to do with right-of-ways, and, you know, I realize all that, and I realize it's not cheap, but at the same time, it will help emphasize the value of this community to people on the outside looking in, looking for value. And that's one of them. Just what our general community looks like. Get the trash off the roads. I mean, you look at some of these places that I'm at the keeps dump. There's a half a dozen of them around. I see just about every day. You know, the trash never gets picked up, never gets moved. It's the same old pile of crap there, and they've got a sign there that says, "Do not illegal dump," or whatever it is, in 3 languages. You know, but it doesn't do it good. We've got to do a better selling job to get people to take care of that kind of thing.
We had a recommendation for that.
Well, it's reload.
I hope that we good. Okay. I'll come back. Anything?
No, that's all, but thank you. Good meeting.
Very good meeting, good thoughts, and thank you very much for the birthday cake.
Oh, I thought you brought your own cake.
Oh, somebody did, I'm not sure. I mean, I did, but.
She got it. Didn't she pay?
I think there was some good, especially
Oh, you did?
good point about the recycling,
Oh, I see.
about trying to increase the recycling and consistency of garbage monitoring. I think was very important again, because there's those of us who don't want the burden of bearing the cost for those abusing the system. Also regarding the property tax issue, there's plenty of properties around here pretending to be ag when they're not. And the ag people are suffering for it and getting ostracized. I think everyone's beating up ag when there's a lot of properties out there who are not ag and perhaps should be gone after. And my example tonight, I drove down B Road. Dumpsters on an ag property where all the plants are overgrown tells me that's not an ag property, and I will give you that address. I think the town council had a good point, or I think it was Mr. Golfnay who brought up the fact of encouraging possibly golf carts, you know, making it more of a community. There's some low-cost things that can be done to make this more of a community. I think that's important. And finally, if there's any, not finally, but the one thing that really troubles me is, are we paying the town attorney for that opinion he wrote, or that letter he wrote to the Inspector General?
Oh, sure.
Then I think he needs to present a copy to the town of that letter, and I think the FACAC is entitled to see a copy of that letter, and I'd like to see it at the next meeting.
We'll put it on the agenda.
Also, if there's any notes or comments for the town council that you would like made, let me know.
Oh, yes, are you going to do it?
I'll do, that's why I was gonna ask, thank you.
I've got one more.
If I don't think doing, okay.
I just need to know if there's anything you want for the town
Can you-
council. I have to present the
Oh.
report.
Yeah, okay,
Well, you can do it, Ken.
no. You do a fine job. You're technically qualified, I know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Virginia.
Virginia brought up the thing about the golf carts. And I understand the attorney is gonna look into that. My question is this: we've got a 45 mile an hour speed limit on Okeechobee, and there's no traffic lights, no traffic circles, nothing to slow anybody down. The county's talking about expanding that to 4 lanes. And since we are not a closed community, how is a golf cart ever going to get across Okeechobee without, yeah.
Well, you don't have to cross Okeechobee.
Well, but the problem is, what does the state law actually say about,
Oh, you
Golf
can't have golf
carts.
carts on roads.
I think
Yeah.
the detail has to come for the discussion. I mean, that's a legitimate fact
yeah,
because
it's,
it's, of course,
it's,
safety on
the safety issue is immense.
I know that in Wellington, that police give people citation when you drive a golf cart on public roads.
Mhm. Now, somebody spoke at the meeting the other night, said, well, is the police gonna give somebody a ticket for unloading their garbage, taking trash to the road? For heaven's sakes, no. I mean, I'd have a heart-to-heart with some deputy that gave somebody a ticket for unloading their trash. That's not what they're talking about when it comes to this. But at the same time, it's a safety problem from A to Z for golf carts on the road. And I think it needs to seriously be looked at. And the state is bigger than we are. At least I think we are. I hope we are. So, thank you, that's it.
Are you done with your comment?
Well, I just wanted to, is that what do you, I just need a simple, quick sentence for the meeting, what you want me
The
to.
quick sentence is that we need to look at the state statutes on golf carts and whether they're permitted on public roads and the safety.
Is this for the FAAC meeting now?
Or it can be for any meeting. I would
No,
not
I'm
mind
just-
it.
I thought that our attorney's gonna look into that.
Yeah,
Right,
that's what,
so-
I'm sure that's what I was asking you.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, so I don't think, we don't.
No,
know.
I'm just looking for I have to do the financial report.
You do it the way you think so.
So just do the regular financial
Yeah.
report,
Just
okay?
do it. Yeah.
Just the numbers is what I usually do.
Yeah, we mentioned it, and it's because we initially requested.
Right.
Unless we.
Let the attorney decide the scope of service.
Right, and so I'm just sticking to the general percentage of the budget, expense,
that's
and,
And
the
also-
cert, what was the comment about cert, did we find that was okay, cert's okay?
I'll give you some note here on that regarding the priorities, that we need to know the money, timing, who's to do it, and when we should. do
Okay,
it.
that's, okay, so I can add that at the end, the
This is our
priority,
suggestion for.
where I wrote down your
Comments
notes.
and consideration. Bill, you have any comment?
I'm not responsible for the article from Just Santa Maria and
What?
the engineers.
What are you talking about?
There's an article 2 weeks ago.
About what?
Yeah,
Just Santa Maria and who's the engineer?
George Webb.
George
George
Webb.
About what?
Discussion about roads and private roads versus public versus what somebody wanted to do. I just want everybody.
Can you send it out for us to read, just to read?
I was not responsible, I had nothing to do with it.
Is this about the gas tax stuff?
I had nothing to do with that article.
Can you send it out?
We have to go online now.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago?
I can send you that.
Mark
Yeah.
sent it to
I'll
me.
send you a copy of that, I have it.
I'm not in.
I'll tell a story off the camera about what he said, from different perspective.
Are we
We're
adjourned?
on, we need to adjourn then.
We need to adjourn.
Okay,
Another good meeting, thank you.
okay. Any comment?
I want to
Okay.
mention something, Mr. Ken, regarding the trash, vegetation on the roads. Normally, when they call the office saying that the vegetation or the trash has been sitting down, I right away send an email to Waste Pro. And also, I CC our independent public work, Frank Shayola. He goes out and he inspects the area. He gets back with me, and he also calls Waste Pro. And this whole week, Waste Pro has, like on Wednesdays, has gone back on Thursdays and picked up what has been left behind. Okay, so just to let you guys know, that when they
Yeah.
call us, we follow up right away.
Yeah, and I know that that happens because I had a problem. I called Frank was sitting in Mark's office, and he said, well, Waste Pro has until
Mhm.
5 o'clock today
Mhm.
to pick it up. And they didn't pick it up that day, but the very next morning, before I got up, they picked it up.
Did
So-
you recycle and get picked up this past weekend?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you for the comment. In closing, I think that a couple of things are very important that we talk about, and because of the article regarding Nagasaki being the biggest loser, we talk about Old Junior Road. Everyone's so happy. Oh, the weather is going to go. Everyone's so happy.
Didn't happen.
It didn't happen. The horse trade, we talked about that many months ago. Hadn't happened. The trash everywhere, we see it all the time. The town, the residents are polarized in different issues, whether we should have it or we don't have it. I think we are as good as Anchorage people that nobody wants to deal with. So I hope that with your leadership, and now is, all the problems, all the good things, bad things have issue. I hope that with your leadership, like I said before, plus the governing board, that this is a bigger issue. And to me, I would put it on number one priority, because it directly affects my value of my investment, affect everybody's view. And I don't can have a good retirement plan, I don't. I know you all have a good one, you don't live in here. So I hope you take it as seriously as we do.
My retirement plan started at age 22.
Thank you. We have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Well, I'll second it.
Motion by
Cheryl.
Cheryl, second by Ken, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, zero. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
now we
you.
wait for you, Steve.
We talk about the money.